Good morning, student. In this video lecture, we will firstly define the oscillatory sum, and after that we try to prove some important theorem which is based on the partition of a closed set. So what is the definition of oscillatory sum? So we know that in the last lecture we have discussed about the upper and lower Darboux sum. Upper and lower Darboux sum. And we generally denote UPF as a upper Darboux sum and LPF as a lower Darboux sum. So the difference of UPF minus LPF will be summation capital MR, where capital MR is the maximum value of function f in Rth subinterval. Rth subinterval means xr minus 1 comma xr, and minus summation here small mr is the minimum value of function f in this interval, right? This is small mr, and delta r is the length of is subinterval. That means this is xr minus 1, and this will be equal to, we can take a delta r as a common in this from the both terms, so it will be summation mr minus small mr into delta r, and we denote this term summation capital MR minus small mr is equal to OR. So this is equal to summation, if we denote OR is equal to capital MR minus small mr, so this will become capital summation capital OR delta R. Here capital OR denotes the oscillation of the function small f in the subinterval xr minus 1 comma xr, that is Rth subinterval, and the sum of OR into delta R is called as the oscillatory sum of f in closed interval AB. So the oscillatory sum of a function on a closed interval AB is denoted by this notation, and this is equal to UPF minus LPF, that is difference between upper Darboux sum minus lower Darboux sum, and sometimes we also denote summation OR delta R by this notation W P comma F. P stand for partition and small f stand for the function. So this is the oscillatory sum of f on partition P. Now in the next slide we try to prove this theorem, and in this theorem we have given f is a bounded function on closed interval AB, and we also given that capital M and small m be the infimum and supremum value of f on closed interval AB. Then we have to prove for any partition capital P of closed interval AB that this inequality holds, this inequality, right? So let us suppose that let capital P is equal to x naught is equal to a comma x1 x2 up to xn, and this is equal to b. Be a partition of closed interval AB right? And this partition divide the closed interval, and IR, that is xr minus 1 comma xr, r is equal to 1 to n, r n sub intervals of f on closed interval AB. Let us suppose that small mi, mr and capital MR be the infimum and supremum of f on subinterval IR. Then and also capital M and small m are the infimum and supremum of f on all domain, that is closed interval AB respectively. Then we know that is small mr will be less than capital MR, and this value will be greater than small m, and it will be less than capital M. So this inequality is whole because this is the infimum in subrectangle IR and small m is the infimum in closed interval A comma B. So this will be the minimum value throughout the domain, and capital M will be the maximum value of function in this closed interval AB. Right? So here if we multiply this inequality by delta R both sides, so it will be M into delta R into MR into delta R less than equal to capital MR into delta R, and this will also less than capital M into delta R. Now taking summation throughout this in this inequality, so it will become summation because M is constant. M does not depend on the prefix small r, so we can take M outside from this M summation. So this will be M into summation del R into summation small mr del R. This will be less than equal to summation capital MR into delta R, and this will be less than equal to capital M into summation del R. Right? Now you can observe that this notation is equal to LPF. This is nothing but LPF, and this is our upper Darboux sum, that is UPF, less than equal to, and we know that summation of del R is always equal to the length of interval, which is B minus A into M, and from here similarly we can write summation del R is equal to B minus A. Right? So in this way we can prove that this inequality is true for any partition P of closed interval A comma B with respect to function small m. So this inequality always true for any partition. In the next slide we try to prove these 5 inequalities. Here in this theorem we have given that let f be an bounded function on closed interval AB, and P is be a partition of small f on closed interval AB, and if P star is a refinement of capital P, then we have to prove that LPF is less than equal to LP star F, and similarly we can prove UPF is greater than equal to UP star comma F, and then this inequality, next one, third, LPF less than equal to LP star F less than equal to UP star F, or this also less than equal to UPF. So first of all we have given here, we have given F is bounded. is bounded on closed interval AB, and let P is equal to x naught A, x1, x2. This is x r minus 1 comma x r up to xn is equal to B. Be a partition of closed interval A comma B, and we suppose that P star be a refinement of this partition P. That means this P properly contained in P star. So we take an extra point here in this IR subinterval, and we say this point is equal to alpha. So x naught comma and all the other points are same as in partition P. So P star contains an extra point in IR subinterval. So we divide it xr minus 1 to alpha comma and alpha to xr and so on xn is equal to B. So this is the partition of this interval, right? Let us suppose that let small m r dash comma cap small m r double dash comma small m are the infimum values of the interval x m r dash and m r double dash. Okay, so these are the infimum value of an mr, value of f x r minus 1 to alpha comma x r alpha to xr and x r minus 1 to xr respectively. Right? And similarly we suppose that capital M r dash, capital M r double dash and capital M r are the supremum value of the sub interval x r minus 1 to alpha comma xr and up to x r minus 1 comma xr. Right? Now we will prove that the first inequality is true. Okay, so how we will prove this? So now we will try to find LP star comma F minus LPF, and this difference will be equal to MR dash alpha x r minus 1 plus MR double dash x r minus alpha minus MR into x r minus x r minus 1. Right? So this will be equal to MR dash and alpha minus xr minus 1 plus mr double dash xr minus alpha minus mr, and we can write this term as xr minus alpha plus alpha x minus xr minus 1. So we add alpha here, and similarly we subtract from the same number from in this interval, in this terms. So we subtract minus alpha, and similarly we add here plus alpha. So we can cancel out this alpha by minus alpha. So it will become again same term, right? Now we can write mr into xr minus alpha. So xr minus alpha, this one. So we can take common uh, alpha minus xr minus 1. So we get mr dash from here and minus mr from here. Mr dash minus mr, and plus similarly xr minus alpha will be mr double dash minus mr, right? Okay. Now small mr, what is small mr? So this alpha lies between xr minus 1 and xr. So the difference alpha minus xr minus 1 will be positive, and similarly this difference will be greater than 0. Now small mr dash, small mr is the infimum value in xr minus 1 into xr subrectangle, subinterval, and small mr dash and capital mr, small mr double dash, both are the infimum value of the subrectangle, this one and this one respectively. So it is obvious that this small mr will be the infimum value, it will be the less than small mr dash and small mr double dash. So from here we can observe that small mr dash will be less than equal to small mr, and similarly mr double dash will be less than equal to mr, right? So that means this value is also greater than equal to 0. This value is also greater than equal to 0. So that means so sorry, this is infimum, so it will be greater than equal to 0. So it will be greater than equal to 0, because this is the infimum value in the interval, subinterval xr minus 1 comma xr, and these are the two subset of this set, this subintervals. These are the two subsets. So that's why small mr will be greater than small mr, and small mr double dash is also greater than small mr. So all the values, these all values are greater than 0. So this implies that LP star f minus LPF will be greater than equal to 0. Similarly, we can prove that UPF minus UP star f will also greater than equal to 0. So in this way we can prove these two inequality. The remaining three inequality we will prove in the these three inequality we will prove in the next video lecture.